So I finally got my Switch 2 Pro controller. Now there's two things about this controller that I don't like, and I'll share those with you in a second, but this controller's got some really cool features that have been added. Number one, you've got a headphone jack right here on the front. And so if you're playing at night and you've got people in your house that are sleeping and you still want to have the audio from your video games, plug a set of wired headphones in, and there is literally no setup or anything required. It works flawlessly. You've also got really nice ABXY buttons here. They're probably the largest ABXY buttons of any Switch 2 controller that I own currently, but they're not obnoxious. They're still real easy to manage. I think they are the perfect size. You're also going to have programmable triggers right here on the bottom, and you can program these very easily with the Switch 2, and the Switch 2 will even recognize which games you have programmed these triggers for and what the settings were that you chose. So if you chose to program the left trigger here for X in Resident Evil, it'll remember that. And if you program this button here for A in Mario Kart, it'll remember that every time that you play that game. Now, of all the controllers that I own, this is the only one that I've been able to get to wake my Switch 2 up, even though I've done all the firmware updates and followed all the different procedures that I've been able to find for the other controllers that I own. This is the only one that wakes up my Switch 2. Now, another feature that they added on this is the chat function button. Now, I will never use that. I just am not going to use the chat button ever, but for people who do, it's a nice feature. Now, the joysticks, I really like the joysticks a lot. They feel really smooth. They're nice and tight. They feel really good. And there's never any contact between the post of the joystick and the ring gate that goes around it. So you don't have to worry about that post digging into the gate and wearing out over time like some of the older controllers. However, they're neither Hall effect or TMR joysticks, which means that there is the potential for these to get stick drift down the road. Whether or not that's going to happen to a lot of people, I don't know, but it's just something to be aware of. And then one more warning that I wanted to mention, I almost forgot about this, but the joystick, there are some games where applying vertical pressure to the joysticks actually activates a button. I play Resident Evil a lot. In order to get your character to go from walking to running, you simply tap that down button on the joystick and that causes them to run. And I've found that it takes a lot more force with this controller to activate that than any other controller. The good part though is that with these programmable triggers, you can just program one of those triggers to do that same button for you, and it's not really a problem. The other thing I don't like about this controller is the D-pad's nice, but it's not great. And I think being an official Nintendo controller, I think they could have done a much better job, because Nintendo has always made some of the best, most iconic D-pads. Whether it's the NES D-pad, whether it's the Game Boy D-pad, the Super Nintendo D-pad, they're all really solid, but these ones, they just leave a little bit to be desired in my opinion. However, I think it's important to note that today, most people are not really using the D-pad a whole lot. And I've got one final thing that I want to mention to you. With the headphone jack, it works great, but if you're like me and you cross one leg over the other sometimes while you're sitting for comfort, if you place the controller down below your knee while you're playing, or there's any kind of big object in front of the controller while you're playing the game, I definitely noticed a little bit of latency in the audio when I was playing with my left leg crossed over my right and I had the controller, down in my lap. The audio started to lag immediately. So that's just something to be aware of. I don't think it's going to be an issue for most people. Overall, I'm super excited about the Pro 2 controller. I just got it and I've already put probably 10 hours of playtime on it. I think the grip improvement is nice. I'm really glad they didn't use that same grip that they used on the original Pro controller. And overall, I think it's just a really good controller.